Okay, Mr. Green. So you talked about 54 ways to be excellent in almost any field. You talked about how 18 of those 54 involve ways to bring the new into the world of creativity sciences. We talked about 2 of those creativity sciences as being 60 models of creativity, 54 models of innovation. You talked about 2 of those innovation models being 420 dynamics of Silicon Valley founders and 420 dynamics of natural selection process. And that grew because there were 54 excellent sciences, only 18 of which were these creativity and novelty sciences. And there were many of those, and only 2 of those were creativity models and innovation models. So it's a huge, giant tree. What can you do with that? I mean, how can your life immediately be benefited by watching the rest of the moments of this particular video clip I'm making now, and the tens of thousands of video clips I'll be making in the coming years? Well, the world you grew up in, particularly if you went to any college anywhere, those colleges put into you 14 crippling, bad, harmful, weak ways of thinking. The colleges install lots of habits and routines in you, a kind of ura in Japanese, hidden background curriculum, not the curriculum they put in their brochures or advertise openly, because they're not aware of it. It's bad, failed assumptions inside of every faculty member, the kind of things weakness that creeps into a profession and a life and biases its research and its journals and the way it talks and thinks. Think about engineers. Who becomes an engineer? Think about hiding in math because you're really uncomfortable with human emotions and social relationships. Think about the tens of millions of people who go into engineering for that reason. They got burned or hurt by emotion or social relationships or status conflicts or dealing with power and money or positional authority as a kid sometime, and they fled into math, a world that they don't get attacked by, that they can control, that has clear rules. A lot of people like that go into engineering. And what does that mean in terms of dead astronauts when the space shuttle blows up? What does that mean in terms of most of the biggest disasters in engineering come from cultural problems that these men aren't comfortable talking about, or emotional issues that these men are hiding from, have no skills for, and weren't trained in, or from other such aspects of the mind, the heart, the whole of humanity that an entire profession doesn't admit and deal with, doesn't measure, and ignores, and thinks they can get away with it until some dead astronauts fall down out of the sky because the culture of MBAs overruled the culture of engineers, and it was wrong, and it killed people. So it's interesting. You see the biggest disasters of a profession caused by the fact that everybody in the profession is too male, thinks only malely. You find 90% or more of the innovations and improvements in a profession come from feminizing the profession. And this is every profession, not male or female professions, every profession. Because excesses of maleness in history have ruled every profession and dominated them. And therefore most improvements make professions less male. This is cool stuff. It's a kind of thing that just with 6 insights like this, you walk into any job and you become a hero and a revolutionary and a leader. With 6 insights. I'm not talking thousands of insights. 6 insights like this alone. So you've got enough already from this video to make yourself more powerful than anybody else where you're now working. You may not realize it. You may not believe me yet. But I can eventually convince you of that in terms of making your life 18 to 80 times more productive and powerful than it is now, this tens of thousands of video series has finished with video 2. You've got it all already right now. And you just don't realize it, and you can't believe it's that easy and that fast. What would you do then to make use of this idea? Well, think about this. Who becomes everything? what kind of people become each profession, and what is that kind of person afraid of and flee from and avoid, and how does that profession structure and handle itself so that the people who avoid that stuff are comfortable and don't encounter it in that profession. You got to have two things. You got to have people who don't want X, and you got to have some systems and things in the profession so they almost never have to encounter X. And that's a kind of collusion secretly there. These people want to hide behind math, and this profession entices you and gives you prizes and awards for hiding behind math. And if a few dead astronauts happen, well, that's just the price of being in business, and there's mistakes everywhere. Look at every profession. Doctors, physicians, nurses, truck drivers, presidents and prime ministers, rich guys. Who becomes that? What do they leave behind? What part of their humanity does it cost them to get what they optimize? And there's a cost everywhere. Every wonderful thing is a neurosis because it hides the costs it pays and the dangers it currently endures, but is unaware of on its route to this wonderful stuff. And once you know that, that's another insight. Not just the male-female neurosis, but there are dozens of these neuroses that every field has. And you walk into any profession, any meeting with people from different professions, and you watch them enact those neurotic limitations unconsciously, unaware that they have them. And you can be more powerful, more perspicacious writer, predict the future better than everybody around that table. And you can do it again and again all day long, every day, all week long, until you are 3 months later revolutionizing everything around you. You don't have to be mean, you don't have to be pushy, you just naturally see what everyone on the table is blind to.